If you want better ApoB, the most underrated tool isn't a supplement, it's fiber that behaves like a cholesterol magnet. And the funniest part is that it's not expensive, it's not trendy, and it doesn't come with a shirtless influencer holding a stethoscope. It's Psyllium, boring, cheap, evidence-backed, and almost nobody uses it correctly. Most people treat Psyllium like a random, gut health, sprinkle. But the lipid benefits show up when we treat it like a protocol. Enough grams, enough water, consistent timing, and smart spacing from medications. So today we're doing the longevity compass version. Exact dosing, timing, GI tolerance tips, and how to stack it with meals, without turning your life into a fiber spreadsheet. Because this is one of those topics where the boring stuff wins. Not because it's exciting, but because we can repeat it every day. First, let's get the fiber confusion out of the way. Not all fiber does the same job. There are two big buckets, insoluble and soluble. Insoluble fiber is broom fiber. It helps stool bulk and movement through the gut. Soluble fiber is gel fiber. It dissolves in water and forms a viscous gel, and that gel is where the cholesterol magic happens. But even within soluble fiber, there's a VIP section. Viscous, gel-forming soluble fibers are the ones most associated with LDL lowering. Think psyllium, oat beta-glucan, barley beta-glucan, and a few others. Some soluble fibers help the microbiome but don't create the same gel effect, so we shouldn't expect the same LDL results. Now here's the mechanism in plain English. Psyllium doesn't scrub your arteries. It doesn't detox your blood. It's not a tiny janitor with a mop. Psyllium forms a gel in your gut. That gel binds bile acids and reduces how much bile gets reabsorbed. Bile acids are made from cholesterol. So when we lose more bile acids in the stool, the liver has to replace them. And replacing them costs cholesterol. So the liver pulls more cholesterol out of circulation to make new bile, and LDL receptor activity can rise to grab more LDL particles from the bloodstream. That's why psyllium is best thought of as cholesterol traffic control, not a cleanse. It changes what gets recycled in the gut, and the liver adjusts the math. Now let's talk evidence, because we don't need hype here. We need receipts. A big dose response review of randomized controlled trials found soluble fiber supplementation lowers LDL by around 8 mg per deciliter on average, and it also lowered ApoB. And it showed a dose relationship. Each additional 5 grams per day of soluble fiber linked to another meaningful step down in LDL. But psyllium has one of the cleanest track records. A large psyllium-specific meta-analysis found that roughly 10 grams per day lowered LDL by about 13 mg per deciliter, reduced non-HDL cholesterol, and nudged ApoB down as well. Is that statin level? No. Is it meaningful, cheap, and stackable? Absolutely. And if you're already doing other heart-smart moves, lower saturated fat, higher protein quality, more steps, better sleep, psyllium can be one of those low-drama nudges that adds up. We're trying to win a long game, not chase one miracle. Now here's why most people fail with psyllium. They eyeball it, underdose it, forget the water, and then quit because it feels like drinking wet drywall. So we're going to do this like adults. We dose it by grams, we ramp it like training volume, and we respect the rules that make it work. Let's build the dose ladder. This is the cheapest ApoB tool nobody uses correctly section. Week 1 is tolerance week. Start with about 2.5 to 3.5 grams once per day, mixed into at least 8 ounces of water. Drink it promptly, because psyllium thickens fast. If we let it sit, it turns into wallpaper paste, and that's not a vibe. Week 2, we move toward about 5 grams per day. If we're tolerating it well, we can take it before or with one meal, ideally a meal where we want the most bile acid interaction. Weeks 3 and 4, we aim for the evidence-aligned target, 7 to 10 grams per day. Most people do best splitting it into 2 doses. A very workable setup is 5 grams before lunch and 5 grams before dinner. Or 1 dose before the biggest meal and 1 later in the day. And here's the most important rule: read the label like a scientist, not like a consumer. Serving size is not always the same as grams of psyllium husk. Some products have fillers, flavors, and sweeteners. So we want to know how many grams of actual psyllium we're getting, not just how many scoops we feel emotionally attached to. Now, hydration. This is non-negotiable. Psyllium must be taken with enough fluid. If we dry scoop psyllium, we're not hardcore. We're creating a choking risk and a very embarrassing story. So we mix it into at least 8 ounces of water and drink it promptly. And if we're someone who already runs dry, low water intake, lots of caffeine, heavy sweating, then psyllium will punish that lifestyle until we fix it. Now, timing. Timing is where people accidentally sabotage the benefits. Psyllium works best when it's actually present during digestion. So taking it before or with meals is usually the simplest play. But we also have to respect medication spacing. Bulk-forming fibers can interfere with absorption of some medications. So the rule is simple: take oral medications at least 2 hours before or 2 hours after psyllium, unless your clinician or pharmacist tells you otherwise. And if you're on a don't mess with absorption medication, thyroid medication, certain diabetes medications, seizure meds, lithium, anything critical, ask about spacing. This is not fear, this is just competence. We don't want a cheaper LDL tool to accidentally become an expensive medication problem. Now let's talk GI tolerance, because this is where the internet gets dramatic. Some people try one huge dose on day 1, feel bloated, and declare psyllium doesn't agree with them. Usually that's not intolerance. That's a dosage error. The gut often needs a ramp-up period. Mild bloating or changes in bowel habits can happen early as the body adjusts. So we start low, we increase gradually, and we don't treat day 1 feelings like a final verdict. If we push too fast, we get gas, cramping, or that uncomfortable, overfilled sensation. And here's the funny part: the same thing that helps LDL can also help constipation for many people. Psyllium is one of the most supported fibers for improving stool frequency in constipation research. So this is one of those rare tools that can help 2 boring adult problems at the same time: lipids and regularity. We're not saying it fixes every gut issue, but it's a real lever. Now we need the food first segment, because longevity compass is not the powder-only lifestyle. Oats, barley, beans, lentils, fruit, and vegetables matter. Oat beta-glucan at around 3 grams per day has meaningful LDL lowering evidence too, often close to the 9 to 10 milligrams per deciliter range in meta-analyses. Beans and lentils bring soluble fiber plus plant protein and minerals, and they usually improve overall diet quality at the same time. So here's the best framing. Oats and beans are the foundation. Psyllium is the measuring cup. Food gives us health. Psyllium gives us consistency, because it's hard for most people to hit a therapeutic viscous fiber dose every single day from food alone. Now, how do we stack this like a real protocol? We keep it simple. Stack option 1, psyllium before the meal where we're most likely to eat saturated fat or a heavier calorie load. It's not that psyllium magically cancels the meal. It just changes the digestive traffic pattern right when it matters. Stack option 2, oats or barley most mornings, psyllium later in the day. That spreads viscous fiber across the day, and it's easier on the gut than dumping everything into one glass. Stack option 3, psyllium plus your ApoB basics. More steps, more protein quality, less saturated fat, and more whole foods. Because psyllium is not a permission slip to ignore high ApoB. It's a stackable tool that makes a good plan better. Now let's do the 30-day challenge, because this video should change behavior, not just awareness. and we want you to actually see if it moves your numbers. Day 0, get baseline labs if you can, LDL-C, non-HDL-C, triglycerides, and ideally ApoB. We don't need perfection, but we do want a before and after that means something. Days 1 through 7 to 2.5 to 3.5 grams daily, with plenty of water. We're building tolerance and consistency. Days 8 through 14, around 5 grams daily. Stay consistent, keep hydration high, and don't overthink timing, just keep it near meals. Days 15 through 30, aim for 7 to 10 grams daily, split into 2 doses if needed. This is where we start living in the evidence-aligned range. At day 30, we can recheck if we want an early signal. But here's the honest truth, 30 days is your adherence test, and 6 to 8 weeks is your better lab test. So if you want the strongest before and after, keep the protocol running and recheck around 6 to 8 weeks. That's often when consistency starts to look like results. Now the safety and caution section, because we're not doing reckless health advice. Psyllium is generally safe for many people, but there are real red flags. If you have trouble swallowing, a history of esophageal narrowing, bowel obstruction, severe unexplained abdominal pain, nausea or vomiting, sudden bowel changes, or rectal bleeding, don't freestyle Psyllium. Talk to a clinician. And if you're on important medications, respect the spacing rule. 2 hours before or after is a solid default, unless a clinician says otherwise. Also, we're not claiming Psyllium replaces medical therapy when risk is high. If ApoB is significantly elevated, if you have known cardiovascular disease, or if your clinician is recommending medication, Psyllium is an add-on, not a substitute. Now let's land the whole episode with the simplest truth. Psyllium is not sexy, but it works when we do it correctly. Viscous soluble fiber lowers LDL by changing bile acid recycling. It's cheap, repeatable, and stackable with the rest of a longevity plan. So our challenge is simple. Dose it by grams, drink enough water, split the doses, take it near meals, and separate it from meds. And please, never dry scoop Psyllium. This is not pre-workout. This is a gel. If this episode helped, hit like and subscribe. Check the description for tools and affiliate links that match today's episode, plus our Longevity Compass Amazon KDP book. And comment, fiber first, if you're doing the 30-day Psyllium challenge. We'll be in the comments helping you dial in the dose, the timing, and the boring habits that quietly win.